Jordan Peele's new movie, Nope. It's coming to theaters this Saturday. I'm looking forward to it. It's another epic UFO film. Probably the most epic UFO film since Steven Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And I think it's because, again, I mean, timing is everything. And Jordan Peele putting out a UFO film is kind of unconventional when you consider he's been making a lot of good horror films. Now he's making a movie about UFOs. And I'm sure it's going to have some horror elements, some other elements that are going to make you frustrated, just giving you reaction. That's what he is. He basically creates movies that get you to react. And it's, like I said, it's a time in the culture where we are slowly realizing, many people are slowly realizing that we're not alone. Other people fear it. They think it's something demonic or something terrifying. And until recently, no government body has dwelt on those official government reports that indicate that certain UFOs pose a threat to national security. And with the new interest in the subject from the government, it becomes crucial to understand that all things UFO are not always alien. And I make that clear whenever I talk about it. And I've been that way since I started the show in 1995. Yeah, there are alien encounters. Yes, there are people that have been abducted. Yes, there are stories that cannot be explained. But not every UFO you see is alien. It's unidentified. If you think it's a flying saucer or a space alien saucer or whatever, it's identified. You've identified it as what you think it is. If it's unknown or unidentified, it remains a mystery because you don't know what it is. It could be earthly, it could be non-earthly, it could be something peculiar in the sky. That's the whole point, right? So with the new interest from the government, there's also other names that go with the phenomena that we need to learn about. Names given to these anomalies. Specifically, there are UOs, unidentified objects. USOs, unidentified submerged objects. UFOs, unidentified flying objects. UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena. All of these things are what are being studied by the Navy. The Air Force, they don't seem to care as much as the Navy does. Why? Because many of the UFOs or UAP that we see are submerging into the oceans, or they come up out of the ocean. This is why we have these stories about Tic Tacs buzzing our naval fleets, because off the coast near San Diego, there was a confrontation or an incursion. Catalina Island, there's been incursions there. And recently there have been reports of strange lights in the northern Pacific and other events happening in the Atlantic. Back in June of 1978, a French government UFO study, it was called GEPAN, G-E-P-A-N, concluded that everything taken into consideration, a material phenomenon seems to be behind the totality of the phenomenon. A flying machine whose modes of sustenance and propulsion are beyond our knowledge. That's France. France saying, hey, we see them, we don't know what they are. So if the UFO phenomenon is indeed beyond the grasp of our understanding, technologically speaking, this is all the more reason, I think, to strive towards learning more about what we're dealing with. The various groups that have been organized in the government sector to sort out these UFOs that are ours, they could be our UFOs, or they could be from an earthly adversary or enemy. They've made it clear that there are advanced weapons of all kinds that are being used in new environments, but they frustratingly leave the door wide open for speculation about UFOs, UOs, UAP, USOs, and all the things that we consider otherworldly. Report after report piles up. And every time we hear a story, it becomes forgotten. It all gets lost. It all gets lost with January 6th. It gets lost with pandemic. It gets lost with climate change. And so we really don't know what we're dealing with. Even the government, for the longest time, people said, well, I'm not going to believe it until it lands on the White House lawn. Well, it hasn't landed on the White House lawn, but the government's acknowledging it. And still, is it enough? Is it enough? That's the question. Because lately there have been stories about Chinese scientists. I mean, we just did the story a while back where we talked with Chinese national about what happened in China when their huge radio telescope picked up an alien signal. And this happens a lot. And it doesn't always make the news. But this situation is weird because the Ministry of Science backed up the claim that the Chinese made contact. Then all of a sudden they erased it all from their records, saying, oh, it was just a mistake. It's some microwave oven that basically was heating up some, sushi or heating up something. You don't heat up sushi. But I'm just saying, it was one of those things where they were saying that it couldn't be, it had to be human. But they went to great pains to move these humans out of the area so they wouldn't get any interference. It's in an area that would be so secluded. To get that interference would be, very low. So why all of a sudden we have this audio version of Roswell, this audio version of Cover-Up? Because over time, I have had informants and other people that tell me that have connections, that tell me that they pick up all the time, either in submarines, telemetry, in planes, radio frequency, shortwave, you name it. They always seem to pick up these strange signals that, even though they sound earthly, they have no, I guess you could say, they're coming from a place that isn't known or tracked or identified. So not only do we have UFOs, USOs, and UOs, we have unidentified heard objects as well, sending signals to aircraft, submarines, battleships, you name it. And that's not often talked about.